any chance of the WoW bands being back? I mean, well, technically the WoW bands were never on Wonder, but I know what you're asking because you probably saw, maybe you did. I don't know if you did or not. But as of this week, beginning on Sunday, the WoW bands are back on Symphony of the Seas. We posted about that at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com today. I don't know for a fact if that is if that's a policy change. Royal Caribbean is bringing them back on the ships that used to have these. The WoW bands were only available on the Oasis and Quantum Class ships. Some of you are asking what the heck is a WoW band. So this is a WoW band. It's an RFID bracelet that you can use in lieu of or in tandem with your CPass card. So they work exactly the same. The difference is that obviously it's a wristband. So you just go, boop, you open your door. I really like the WoW bands. I think that I just prefer them. Now, WoW bands do cost money. It's $4.99. You can bring, if you have an old one like I do, you can bring them. They'll exchange it, reprogram it, and give it back to you, and you're good to go to use it. But right now, Mickey, Royal Caribbean has not made an announcement. We just noticed that they're available again on Symphony. So your guess is as good as mine. Where's the best place to get last minute deals on cruises? That's a great question. And the answer is honestly, your travel agent. The price of a cruise is the same no matter where you book it from. There could be exceptions, travel agents may have special group rates or things like that. But generally speaking, the price is always the same. The difference is the reason why you want to talk to your regular travel agent is they may be aware of certain benefits and certain discounts and specials because their price increases all the time. They see these specials and they may know what's available to you. It's cruise pricing. I wish I had more time to talk about this. Cruise pricing is not as varied as some may think. Like, it's not like, ooh, if you go to this particular website or this person, you can get extra deep discounts on cruises. Not the case. The cruise price is the same no matter where you get it from. Again, there are certain slight exceptions to this, like, maybe a travel agency has a special group rate they have. That is a little bit different. Generally speaking, we need to last minute. Like, and I say last minute, I'm talking like, 6 weeks or so before your cruise sails. Those group rates usually go away by that point. You never know. You could get lucky. So that's why a good travel agent can help you there. But again, it's more that, a good travel agent is there to obviously get you the best possible deal. And they may be aware of things and options and specials that don't necessarily show up in a basic internet web search when you go to Royal Caribbean's website. So do I recommend the WoW bands? I like them. I mean, they're not. The problem is I don't think they're as implemented as well as they should be. In a lot of cases, waiters will ask you to remove them. Like, oh, can I get a drink? Theoretically, they're supposed to have like a mobile scanner. They don't. So you take the WoW band off, and it seems like that's silly. But Stephanie, I think for $5, I think the WoW band is absolutely worth it for opening my door. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm always like, which card is in my? I'm as the dad, I'm always the keeper of the CPass cards. Like, I got my card, my kid's card. It's just easier if I have a wristband that this is always me, so I can use that one. So for $5, I think it's worthwhile. I think it's a drop in the bucket, and I enjoy it. So yes, I think it is worth it. Which do you prefer, Ocean View balcony, Boardwalk balcony, or Central Park balcony? I mean, I probably prefer whatever's cheapest. To me, they're interchangeable. I certainly like the view of the ocean. I like the people watching that the neighborhood balconies provide. But I would say I tend to book whatever's cheaper. If I had a choice, usually either the Boardwalk or Central Park is usually cheaper than an ocean-facing balcony. And given the choice, if they were both the same price, I would pick Central Park. It's a little different, like the ambiance. Why is Port Valet offered at the Seattle port only? Why don't other ports offer the service? Great question. And it's not a Royal Caribbean question. It is really a question for the other ports. There's obviously logistics involved, and I can't speak for why you don't have luggage valet at other ports. I know that pre-pandemic, I thought they had them in like one or two other ones, maybe Fort Lauderdale. Anyway, I'm assuming the logistics costs or both have something to are at play here. If you really wanted to, my guess. Is there any way to get a refund of difference or any perks of the cost of your cruise if your cruise decreases after final payment? There is not. No, unfortunately not. I wish there was. When cruising first restarted, there actually was a recourse for that. But going forward, there is not. There is one thing though, Rob. If you let's say you pay if you paid whatever you paid, and then the price for the next category up of staterooms is now lower than what you paid, you can move up. So, like, if you paid $2,000 for your balcony, and all of a sudden a junior suite price comes down to $2,000 or less, you could upgrade that way after final payment. But beyond that, I'm not familiar with anything over there. I've seen the worst reviews for the new menus. I'm nervous my family will hate the food. Taisha, I've tried the new menu and I love it. But here's what you got to do. Remember, number one, ignore online reviews. Online reviews are completely meaningless, Taisha. What I mean by that is Google something that you really love, a movie, a book, particular food, and you can find tons of negative reviews of those things, but you love it. So it's totally meaningless. Online reviews are usually posted by people who don't like something. Most people who have a good time don't bother posting any reviews of it. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that it's better than people are making it out to be. Some people are just kind of annoyed by the virtue of the fact there's a change, and I don't think some people are giving it a fair shake. Some people may genuinely not like the food. I respect that, but I think in general, a lot of cruisers have gone off the deep end without actually even trying it, and the principle of change is bothering them more than anything. But beyond that, it doesn't even matter. I stand by what I said earlier in that ignore online reviews of menus, online reviews of ships. I mean, it does not matter what someone else thought. And you know, we can, like, if I ask the chat, do you love or hate broccoli? Right? Half the chat's gonna say they love broccoli, half the chat's gonna say they hate broccoli. So all that means is that we all have different tastes out there, no pun intended. But my point is, Taisha, is I think I think you'll love it, and I think that you shouldn't pay any attention to the negative reviews. It's a good question though. Any recommendations on which drink to try with someone who likes fruity drinks, non-alcoholic and alcoholic drinks? 109 days, still Oasis of the Seas. The strawberry daiquiris, Miami Vice, Love Connection, Midori sours. Those are all alcoholic drinks. Although you can have those actually non-alcoholic, but those would be some good recommendations there. There's lots of great drinks. Also, Chelsea, you know, don't be afraid. You know, if you're at a bar and I don't know what to get, I'm not sure. Ask the bartender. So, hey, listen, you know, I like fruity drinks. Can you recommend something that's not like, you know, the same old, same old? And they can probably have some good ideas there. When is the best time to cruise to Alaska? It depends on what your definition of best is. Are you talking about the best time for like least crowds, best temperature, like is most comfortable, least amount of rain? Because those answers, depending on what you pick, and you can't say all three because that doesn't work that way. Because the best weather is arguably, is in warmest, is in July and August. But that's also the most crowded times of the year. The best prices tend to be in the beginning and the end of the season, like May and April, and September and October. But those are also times in which it can be the coldest of the Alaska cruise season. So you've got to pick which of those things matter most to you. The answer, though, ultimately, Nick, is there isn't a bad time. Pick which, number one, a time you can actually go. And number two, prioritize, you know, crowds or weather or price, and you'll be able to get a pretty good option over there. Also, Nick, we have at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com a whole section dedicated just to Alaska cruises. It's at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com/Alaska. RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com/Alaska. Is $83 plus gratuity, a good price for the luxury package for a 4-day cruise? It's irrelevant. And what I mean by that, I'm not trying to discount your question. What I mean by that, Rena, is number one, the price you see online will be cheaper than on board the ship. Number two, if someone else says, Rena, I paid something else for it on my cruise, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because you can't price match. You can't call a Royal Caribbean and say, oh, this guy on the internet told me that he got it for this price. Can you match that? It doesn't work that way. The price of the drink package varies from ship to ship and sailing to sailing. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want the drink package, book it because it'll be cheaper than booking it on board. And Rena, if there's a better price tomorrow or next week, you can always cancel and rebook and take advantage of the newer price. Is it better to book a suite or connecting room for a few of, I think, family of 6, 2 parents, 4 young adult children? I'm going to bet that 2 connecting rooms will be cheaper than 1 suite. And that's the reason why I would recommend that. Obviously, if the suite ends up being the same price or cheaper, we'll go suite. But the other reason I like the connecting room idea is you get extra bathrooms, separation. I just like that a whole lot better. Is the key lunch worth it? Well, obviously, if you buy the key, I would say it's worth it, but I don't recommend the key, Cruiser Dog. I just tell people this is my set, and the people will disagree with me on this. Let's remember when I was talking about ignore online reviews. There are plenty of people that ignore my review of the key, but for what it's worth, since you asked me, I don't like the key. I think the key just sounds better than it really is. Like the benefits, when you read them on paper, you're like, wow, there's a lot of cool things in here. And in reality, it's not as good or as lucrative as it sounds. The lunch is nice, don't get me wrong, but I prefer the variety. It's a very limited menu there. I prefer the menu that I just prefer going to the Windjammer and getting, much more selection personally. People really like it. So, since you asked, my answer is no. A show I really want to go to is fully booked. What's something I can do? I also have the key if that helps. You just go to the standby line, Martin. So when you're on there, and let's say the show's at 2 o'clock, go to the theater about 15 or 20 minutes before the show, and you'll get to the main entrance, and they'll say, do you have a ticket? No, I'd like to go on the standby line. They'll direct you where that line is. You'll get in, Martin. You'd be shocked. Maybe not shocked, but it's not. There's a lot of people who make reservations that don't actually go because they book the reservation because they book it like, a month before the cruise. And then they're at the pool deck having a great time. And then they're like, you know what? I really don't want to go to a show right now. I want to continue sitting here in the pool. So there's always a lot of no shows. The standby line almost always works out. So thank you again for joining us here. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun like book another cruise. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.